Wow, starting off with the Xayah ban here. And I know everybody's excited to see what's going to happen in LCK with the new patch, right? What are going to be the solid standard bans that you see all the time? What are going to be the top picks nowadays? Because obviously, with the mid-season changes, a lot of stuff has changed up coming into this.
And Galio, he made such a surge in MSI, being such a powerful top lane. I'm glad we see that Zac ban coming out from MVP. He's such a powerful champion right now. We've seen him in the jungle dominate, even top lane, sometimes even support. We have heard rumors of Zac being so powerful that he gets to be played as a support. So MVP banning it out. We don't want to have to deal with it. So a great little takeaway.
Yeah, also a ban there on Syndra by Jin doing their studying. Ian definitely liking to pick up that Syndra many times in LCK Spring, one of his power picks. And look at that, they're going to ban away Lee Sin from Umti. So you were talking about that focus on Umti, and it seems like MVP has done their research as well.
He's got a good champion pool. He's been playing Graves, and right now in the jungle, Ivern was the biggest champion that before Korea wasn't too hyped on it. After MSI, a little bit more, but he did see some nerfs, and we might see the surgence of a peculiar pick in Nunu right now, helping with the Herald control, helping with picks like the Lucian middle or the kind of carries that are coming out, and that's going to be, wow, a first pick Thresh from Max.
Okay, well, starting off LCK Summer with a little bit of flair is Max on his birthday. And just talking about Max a little, this is the support that has picked just the most wide variety of different support picks in all of LCK Spring. So he showed a lot of Thresh as well, and I like that they're showing the confidence in Max picking up his champion first.
And it's a double whammy because it's Deny on Snowflower as well. He's seen a lot of success on Thresh and Malzahar, and when you take this pick away, and Malzahar right now, not in the greatest spot. Doran's Shield, one of the most prominent items in the game. You can just lane with it and kill the Void Lane so easily that taking away the Thresh makes a lot of sense. And when you're dealing with Zyra and Vara, such an easy lane to gank, then you expect a lot of attention going down bottom lane.
Yeah, so we'll see what MVP wants to pick up here as a response. Looking to potentially pick up Graves, as you were talking about. That is another pick that MT has been showing a lot of play on.
And Graves right now, he did receive some nerfs, kind of a bit of a tweak. His power was really a lot in the base damages, so the base damages did get toned down, but the ratios went up, which means that his late game's going to be a little bit stronger, and if he gets ahead and starts buying those items, he's going to have just as much power as he had before.
That's very interesting. He was always pretty strong towards late game. We always saw him just farming it up really hard just to try to get there, and we do see an Ashe pick here, so you were talking about, you know, in conjunction with that Thresh, hitting level 6 with that Ashe will definitely be some fireworks down in the bot lane.
And we can expect here, oh, is that going to be the Jace coming in from Kuzan? And it will be. That can be a flex Jace, though, so we have to be wary of what the composition does. But so far, it's a lot of poke, lots of disengage, and without a hard engage support like perhaps a Nami that can offer a little bit more of a long-range engage, then MVP will have to be playing that skirmish game in the jungle quite well to avoid the poke from Jin.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned the flex pick. We'll see that if MVP actually gives them credit to potentially put it up in top.
Yeah, and funnily enough, MVP will ban out the Nidalee, a pick that does not see a lot of play, but there is a player today that is a huge Nidalee player. So Longzhu is putting in Cuz as their jungler. This guy's rank 2, and he's a really good Nidalee main in solo queue, and so other teams have been taking that pick, and you really want to get rid of it right now. It's a new patch. You don't want to risk these champions that can snowball out of control that you don't have as much preparation into. Just keep it standard. Rengar as well, so making sure that Umti does not get ahead. You got to shut this guy down. He was so instrumental in Jin getting back into the LCK, so I like the focus on him to make sure that Jin has to reevaluate how they won games.
Yeah. Very interesting. And on the other side for Jin, they banned out both Kennen and Fiora, these two hard-pushing late-game split pushers that really tanks have a really hard time dealing with. So it looks like they may want to throw a tank up in the top lane to deal with that. Picking up the Orianna, the blind pick in mid. And let's see what MVP wants to do in response.
Oh, the Orianna is such a safe pick always, and it will be met by the Talia, and already you know what MVP is trying to do. This is just pour everything into the bottom lane. You've got the semi-global from Talia, you've got the Ashe Arrow. Thresh is such a great setup for anybody that doesn't have flash. As Sejuani gets hovered, she can be played. She did see some nerfs and some tweaks, but it will be locked in, and my god, just goodbye Ashe Varus. You guys are in trouble.
Yeah, have fun in the bottom lane there, Jin. Not sure what you're going to be feeling, but We do see, actually, the hover onto the Ivern here, and that will be picked up. So the jungle MT will be thrown onto that Ivern. And we heard some cheers in the audience, people seemingly very happy about that Sejuani top.
Oh, yeah, it is Sejuani top. My bad, I got tunnel vision into there. That's Sejuani, yes. She has received the changes to her passive, which gives her such a high amount of resistances. It did get nerfed, but it can lane into the Jace. The Fiora and Kennen being the skill matchup that can give Jace some trouble, and so when you take away the Sejuani, you make sure that the team composition is still rounded out and well enough to engage into what Jin Air has to offer, which is without a tank lineup. So if a good ultimate hits, then MVP can easily wombo them out.
Yeah, so what are you feeling about these compositions here? You feel like MVP got the better side of the draw, the pick and ban this time?
You know, I really like what Jin Air has done. I kind of favor Jin Air because if you saw how they played in the promotion tournament, they really relied on the early game getting ahead. If they had pushing lanes, they were able to succeed. And while the mid lane push is not so great, the bottom is and the top lane is as well. And if that gives enough room for Umti to feel comfortable with countering jungling, to just go in there and get what he's been doing so well for the past couple of weeks, and I think that Jin Air can easily close out this game. They have improved their macro, and MVP, that's what they struggled with. They focused so much on kills. We saw it be really apparent in their 3-0 loss against KT that I think that even though Jin Air got 2-0'd last split, this could be a redeeming chance against them for MVP.
Yeah, they've got a lot to prove here. You know, they got down there, I think it was 9th place, down at the bottom of LCK Spring. We're not looking too good. Lost to basically everyone except teams like BBQ, teams like Kongdu. They go into promotions, look really good, and they're here to fight in LCK Summer. But so is MVP. You guys can see the final lineups here. And we're going to jump straight into match number 1 of LCK Summer. It's me, Valdez, with Crumbs. Let's get into it. Well, there you go. Some really unique cheers today, actually, as all the MVP fans seemingly coming together and creating one just for Max on his birthday.
I love the cheers. You know, we even got cookies from Max's day. I had the cookies already, absolutely delicious. And I don't even eat sweets, but you got to do it when you're here. When in Rome, you do as the Romans.
Yes, exactly. And we were actually looking at some of the flavors of the cookies, and one of them was onion cookies. So even if you disliked the sweets, perhaps they've got a cookie for you here in Korea, Crumbs.
I'm not an onion kind of guy. But I do have layers to myself.
That's true, that's true. Oh boy. Well, this is going to be fun. You know, new season, new games, new caster, things all new here at Spo TV. We even have a new host on the analyst desk, which you guys didn't get to see. You can check that out if you watch the Korean stream. But she's been changed up as well. We have some more surprises for you guys later on tonight as well. Not going to mention too much, but perhaps some new faces.
And just a standard opening happening here. If you saw in the mini-map, Iksu was warding his own red buff in defense, but a blue ward did go into the red side jungle. So now MVP gets to scout out where the Ivern is starting. They get to map out the route, and if Beyond feels comfortable enough with invading here, then they will be able to shut down Ivern. He is quite susceptible to being counter-jungled early, and he will have to smite away his blue buff to make sure that he's not going on such a greedy path.
Looks like he's going to head right to his red, and actually those wards over there did run out, but they know he's on the right side starting that blue. Interesting to see the Sejuani up in top. I haven't seen it too much in pro play. I just know if I duo with my friends, they always get crushed by a top lane just because they don't really know the new changes, and she can definitely be very surprising if you haven't played against it too much.
And it's also a lot easier to get by in the laning phase if you're one of these tanks against one of these heavy harassed lanes like the Kennen, the Jaces that can auto you down and really whittle you out of lane quickly on. The Doran shield, the regeneration is so obnoxious to deal with that. You can get away with picking a lot more scaling compositions, and so you can expect those champions to be really heavily prioritized, and when you combo it with the likes of the Ashe, the Talia, and Graves, just so many carries, you get yourself a lot of DPS later in the game.
Ooh, nice bit of trading here by Ian. It was looking very Kuzan favored before once it hit level 2, but just getting knocked up there. And Ian hitting that level 3, putting on the pressure. Actually, Beyond poking his face into Ivern's jungle right now, just stealing some of the Raptors.
It's a good move, making sure that Ivern doesn't get anything out of blowing that extra HP and mana for his work, for his troubles and beyond. Looking for a nice gank on top side. Sejuani did hit level 3, so Ixu could be in trouble.
Here we go. Let's see if she can land. It does miss it. Ixu trying to go there, and he does get the lead. But here comes Umti. They're going to turn it around onto ADD here. Bit of damage coming on in, but doesn't really look like either side wants to fully engage.
None of them have enough damage to really take each other out in that exchange. And the bottom lane for Jin Air just having a lot of pressure here that you would wish that Beyond perhaps could look for a gank down here with a Lantern. Zyra and Varus are so susceptible to a Flash Flay Lantern combo that it's almost hard to not gank this lane.
Yeah, maybe a little bit later. They want to make sure Max doesn't look too bad on his birthday. Want to set up the easy gank. Maybe they'll wait for level 6.
I mean, you know, if you played with a birthday boy on your team, you're kind of a little bit more inclined to listen to his calls. So whatever he says will most likely sway the way of MVP a little bit more than on most days.
You gotta feed the birthday boy, make him look good. I mean, he usually is the shot caller, if I'm not incorrect there, for MVP. So.
Well, MVP,
it would make sense that they do listen to Max.
They do. Well, you do have to listen to your support. I mean, your job as a support, you got to sit there in lane, you prep the last hits, and then you start mapping out the plays. You time your cooldowns. If you're not making shot call plays as a support, you should probably reevaluate the way you're playing League of Legends.
Some rough words there by
Are you a support?
You're laying it down right away from the get-go.
You don't have to do anything. Just look at the mini-map, make the calls of the team.
You got to reevaluate the way you play the game, guys. But yeah, you're definitely right in that facet. They've got a lot of time to just look around, whereas some of the other players might be a little bit more focused on the trades.
Sejuani just so tanky, doesn't want to miss out on the experience here. Most likely will burn that teleport to get back into lane after this.
Just looking to clear it. You were talking about the Doran shield. I think it's definitely something we have to point out. Not only does Sejuani have it, but both of the 80 carries pick that up. It's such a good item for sustain that actually both 80 carries are picking it up now. So what do you think about it?
It's confusing because visually you want the items to match what they do, and Doran's shield right now gives you extra damage on attacking minions, which helps you with the last hitting. And you would expect that to be on a blade or an item that looks offensive, not a shield. So that's why the item is so powerful. I personally would want it to see different. Let's just see it not be a shield. Just give it a different name. Let's give it a different aesthetic to it. And Beyond looking to counter jungle again on that Raptor camp. Raptor is such a powerful tool to playing around mid lane. And right now, mid lane play is so important because of Herald. His ability, or her ability, excuse me, sorry for assuming her gender here, is so important in pushing down mid lane turrets that making sure that you always have mid lane control is more important than ever.
Yeah, definitely very true. And we'll see if we have a bunch of fights over there at Harold a little bit later on. No real action just yet. We're about 6.5 minutes into the game. No kills, no real pressure down at bot like you were looking for. There was some trades in mid and kind of the double gank up towards top. But
and the CS is just perfectly even all around, and normally you'd expect somebody to start getting an advantage somewhere. I mean, the jungle, sure, there's a big CS disadvantage, but counter-jungling Raptors does give you a bit of an extra edge on that CS. It's a lot of monsters each, so the numbers get a little bit extra inflated. Not a huge deal because the levels are a little bit like half up for Beyond. Not a huge deal when you're Ivern. You just want to hit that late game, hit 45% CDR, and you're just a shield and CC bot.
We have ADD making his way down into the river. Actually, Ixu is going to spot that. I thought perhaps they were looking to set up something towards mid, but nothing doing so far. And bot lane here, not yet level 6 on either side, but here comes Beyond. He does have the red buff. You were talking about a lantern gank. Here we go, the flash play. And with that red buff, it blows up.
So easy, so easy. You do it every single time. I mean, you can next time you come back with the arrow, and this Zyra is just going to be in so much trouble from now on. You got to deal with Talia now that will be able to use that Weaver's Wall, and Jin Air will have to reassess the way they're playing this lane. They were playing up the entire laning phase because they saw the jungler, they knew what was going on, but now that level 6 is hitting, they need to play very safe.
I mean, you were talking about how easy it is to set up those ganks down there, but there was not even a ward in the tri-brush. It didn't seem like they were even expecting it to come in. They were so susceptible to it. Well, it was a perfect setup.
They hadn't faced. They were just they're perfectly content with laning as late as possible, and Maha will be able to recall and goes for a BF straight into Berserker, so a huge purchase from him. And we'll see what Teddy goes for. Right now, that's most likely going to be the Infinity Edge. So there is that change to the Runan's Hurricane that no longer deals that on-hit damage. Oh, sub-trading.
Uh-oh, Ian getting locked up here. The flash, but the last hit with the Ignite and the plant is going to take him out. They will trade 1-for-1 as Snowflower also meets his doom. Just a bit of trading here in the mid lane.
And the trade is worth it for Jin Air because they're able to take down the jungler in exchange for a 0-1 Zyra that had fed First Blood. So all is good in the world if you're a Jin Air fan.
Oh, here comes Umti up into top. Look at ADD. He's below half health at this point. Daisy will be tanking this up from the beginning. ADD in a lot of trouble. Will flash away. Eats the Shock Blast. Just going to trade back an ultimate, and ADD will get away unharmed.
And there's no turret aggro, so the ultimate doesn't do a whole lot. And Beyond will have to go up here to defend this turret because there is no TP on ADD, and one more wave with Jace's pushing power could result in first break going down, and the last thing you want to do is give Jace such a tremendous advantage early on.
Definitely very true. Beyond just going to eat all of this up, and
for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction here, and MVP looking to take control over the river here. Thresh and Ashe moving around, making sure that they have enough control so that they can continue making plays bot side. ADD choosing not to use the teleport, so we can expect a lot of action happening bottom side, considering that both these teams are running a heavy amount of carries, and there's an Infernal Dragon on the map. This Dragon's value has gone up exponentially by the picks that these teams have drafted.
Yeah, the other part of this is that Snowflower trying to set up the gank earlier on. He actually tried to flash away from Max when Max actually set up that gank down there. So that could be an easy target for them right now if they want to go for that. Beyond, it looks like he's still up towards his blue side jungle, but they might look to set that up in just a bit.
And there's no vision there to stop a gank from Graves happening once again. There's no ward at try. There's only a river ward that is a control ward, so it does help, but that that's not the gank route that a Graves would take. So a very accessible gank for MVP, and MVP is a team that's really been struggling with the macro play. They're always going to focus on kills more than anything else, and I would like to see them kind of revert to this, let's go for kills, just because of how easy it is. So maybe a little bit focusing too much on other parts of the game as opposed to taking the freebie that Jin Air seemingly is presenting.
Well, you were talking about wards down here in bot lane. The one crucial ward that Jin Air had is now gone. So they're totally in the dark. And Beyond, he's just going to take this opportunity to begin soloing the Infernal Drake. Ian will make his way over, and that is just going to go over to MVP for free. Even if they knew this was happening, I'm not sure that Jin Air could respond to this at this point.
Oh, they're going for Herald, perhaps. That control ward going down will force MVP to try to at least go towards that part of the map. There's a red buff on Ixu. This is so obnoxious. When you're dealing with Ivern and you hand off the red buff to your top laner, not just because he's ranged and can harass you with the true damage, but because the regen. When you're out of combat, the regen is so huge that it basically wins you lane automatically, and that's one of the great strengths about the Ivern pick.
Yeah, Jace having a ball up in top. He's already ahead about 25 CS. Just really making it easy for him, especially the amount of times MT is going up there, clearing out all the wards, making it even harder for ADD to do much at all. And you can see Beyond is hanging around mid now. Ian just trying to put on some pressure. Also, the bot lane of MVP had rotated mid, but they weren't able to set anything up.
Storm Raiders allowing him to chase. Might get a kill.
Oh, the flash coming in. One more auto attack will do it. Oh, just barely able to get out of that one. And it looks like they want to respond with a bit of a counter gank. Ixu is sticking around.
He's done for.
Oh, man. Ixu, he doesn't have his flash. He used it for the gank, and down he will go. A huge cheer from the MVP side of things. Ixu will go down.
It's that Ninja Tavi, man. Such an obnoxious item to go early on when you're dealing with auto attackers. And a great pickup there from ADD, was able to just bait Ixu and burning his flash to try to get that kill. And even if he got the kill, that trading that 1-for-1 would most likely not have been worth it. Trading that kill into the carries for MVP, now that they have that Fire Dragon, is going to be so annoying.
Yeah. The thing about ADD, well, actually, let's take a look at this replay first. So you can see there's a trade going on, but Ixu is extremely low on mana, so he has to get in range for the auto attacks, but just barely ADD gets away.
You know, he really probably thought that that blow would have taken him out. Perhaps if he saved the mana for a Shock Blast instead of the Thundering Blow, could have gotten the kill in the end.
Probably would have, and you could see he was sticking the Corrupting Potion too. He wanted it so badly.
Hindsight's 2020, but wanting it never results in actually getting it.
Yeah, well, looks like blue buff will be handed off over here. Kuzan wanted that. He will get it this time.
Snowflower is taking a trip to the top side, just hanging out, maybe expecting another return gank onto Ixu, but will return to the bottom lane, and still no more action happening on the map. Perhaps a hook onto Kuzan.
Oh! He felt the breeze of that hook going by his ears. Kuzan really lucky to get away from that one. He had no idea.
You got a spam question mark ping. Where's the MIA on that one? Even though, you know, you just barely lived out of that one.
We have more trading up in top. Ixu will actually be frozen. And with Umti coming on up, we'll definitely get the better end of that trade.
You have to point out Ixu's build here. Blade of the Ruined King first item. Normally it's a build that we haven't really seen much on Jace, but against the likes of the Sejuani, it makes a lot of sense. Umti does have flats to get out of this. Beyond just happy to take the trade. It gets the ultimate out.
Look at the trading that happened in mid too. You can see this shockwave was used. Hold that thought. It looks like actually Jin wants to come on in here. No knock-up from Daisy. And ADD will not eat a shock blast. Beyond, he wants that gold. Will he get it? He will. Extra 50. But yeah, it seems like Ian's actually having a little bit of trouble against Kuzan in the mid lane. Already down about 35 CS. Lost the trade big time. Might be a bit of an issue.
Once that Orianna gets that blue buff, it's so obnoxious to deal with because she can shield so much of the return damage while harassing you as well. It's such a powerful pick once you hit the mid game, and first brick will go down to Ixu solo, so the Jace resulting in all the pressure that Jin Air wanted, and this is the style that Jin Air has shown some success with. Normally they need a bigger lead to really accelerate the matchup, as you would expect a team with a lead to do so, but you get what you can get.
And it's pretty good for evening out the gold score, at least. You can see that they're only about 500 behind. The real big thing is that MVP was able to pick up that Infernal Drake.
Speaking of pickups, it's an Essence Reaver on Ashe. When's the last time we saw that? It's been
a while.
I think last year. It's an old build, but it is basically...
But it checks out.
Yeah, it's designed to spam arrows, but I think we saw only one. Have we seen an arrow so far?
I was actually going to bring that up before. I mean, everybody in the bot lane does have their summoners available, but he gets that item, but he's not really spamming the arrows. He's not looking for the picks. It was only Max that came mid that one time. Where was Maha?
Nowhere to be found. And where is the arrow onto Kuzan? An Orianna that has no summoners, just begging to be killed.
You got the burst damage from not only Ian, but also Beyond if he joins on in.
He's looking.
They're looking for it. Can they land it here?
Yes,
it is going to land, and that's to be the end of his life. Down he goes, almost a gigantic overkill.
Just textbook plays from MVP, taking advantage of their CC, putting it to good use, and you know how to punish the guys that don't have any summoners. Now they're making a push for the mid lane turret, and this Iron Brush is really not working in the favor of Jin Air because it's now hiding MVP, so they can't even see anybody. Luckily, it fades away. Whoa, what are you doing?
Whoa.
What's he doing there?
Hey guys, calm down. We didn't actually get to see that. Looks like Ian was able to knock up some of those guys, but he did go down. And he's gonna land the ultimate, trying to get the stuns onto Umti here. He's very, very low, but Ed, oh man, he gets pulled on in. The flash forward from Teddy will pick up the kill. And so Jin Air, they're fighting back.
The knockback on the Lantern, make sure that ADD does not live from that play. Just really greedy on that ultimate. There is no follow-up. It's that classic Amumu play where, hey guys, I got him all. Where's the follow-up? And then you just flame your team for not following you up. But if you're a CC bot, you got to make sure that your team can follow up with damage. If you can CC but there is no damage, you're as good as dead.
Yeah, so let's take a look at what happened here. Just totally locked up. Nice play with the control ward and the brush, actually, by Teddy and Snowflower to set that up.
Looks like he just wanted to go for a Weaver's Wall to cut off and maybe try to go make a real strong push for that mid lane turret. But over chasing does result in them losing 2 people for what should have been 0.
You were talking about that knockback with the lantern. That was pretty cute by Ixu.
Well timed.
Yeah. Just everybody had used everything by that point. There was no Ash Arrow, no collateral damage from beyond. Everybody was low on mana. People weren't in position. There was no follow-up hook. So, as you were saying,
keep the list coming on how bad the play was.
Yeah. Well, ADD getting a little bit too far ahead of himself.
But they will get an Ocean Dragon for their troubles, and that Ocean Dragon. Well, okay, so Ocean Dragon, you know, gets a bad rep, and I agree. I think if you do the research on the numbers, it's not the most powerful dragon. But when you're a poke comp, that is what Jin Air is dealing with. It does help, right? You can have that extra mana, you can poke a little bit, you can stay in that sustain a little bit longer, and now that the second one is going to be that Ocean, it gets to add up. So these dragons will matter. It's not the Clown Drake.
Yeah, we haven't seen one of those yet. Hasn't shown its face, just a little bit embarrassed so far.
Nobody, get out of here. Nobody wants to see it. So MVP really trying to force this mid lane turret. Once they can break this tower, the map really becomes there. And another position for Maha, looking for another arrow. There's still no flash on Kuzan.
Oh, the shockwave actually just used to try to clear the wave, but they're still going to pick up the turret, so nicely done by MVP. Perhaps Kuzan trying a little bit too hard to clear that out.
And in 25 seconds, we get to see the most sad thing happen in League of Legends. It's Harold going to take his own life. Can no longer stand the presence.
Poor Harold, man. So sad whenever that happens.
We just try to help him out and try to incorporate him as much as possible, but you just can't save some.
Yeah. The older sister, the Baron, comes on in, takes his place. What are you going to do?
What gender is Baron?
I think it's a female as well.
Really?
I think so.
Would you think they're related?
I'm not a lore expert of League of Legends or anything like that, but from what I've heard,
I think so. Harold is clearly related to Rek'Sai.
Okay, yeah, I can see it.
Look-wise, but Baron more of a standalone. I'd imagine that. I'd want to think Baron's the guy in here.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense when you think about it.
It's a name. It's a male name, isn't it? I think there's German people called Baron.
I'm not sure if that's only for men, but you know, if someone has an idea on that, you can definitely tweet at us at what's your Twitter actually? I don't. Is it Prophet Crumbs?
It is Prophet Crumbs. Yes.
Thought it was Prophet Crumbs, but we're a new casting duo. I haven't gotten that down just yet, but
thanks for the plug. Thanks for the plug on that one.
Yeah.
Here comes Ian, maybe looking for another Weaver's Wall onto this. They are employing a 1-3-1, which unfortunately doesn't do a whole lot when you have such a composition that relies on long-range engage. You want to make sure you incorporate as much presence as possible when you're MVP. So this will slow the game down to most likely just revolving around more dragons, slowly adding up, and then eventually when they're strong enough, they'll move towards the Baron.
Speaking of moving towards Baron, there's a couple of recalls right now by Jin Air, and lots of members of MVP around that Dragon Pit, or rather the Baron Pit. Not going to go for it right now, of course, but definitely taking control of it. It's their territory for now.
And post 20 minutes, even though if you can't do Baron, you still want to have control over it because it's the best objective that you can get at the time. And if your opposition makes a mistake, oversteps somewhere, you get a pick, then you're in position to get the biggest reward possible. And that's what MVP really wants to do here. They want to make sure that if Jin Air plays that slow and kind of grueling game that they often do, then they can just say, you know what, we're going to go take that Baron and accelerate the pace the way we want to.
Ian actually used his Weaver's Wall bot to save the bot turret, and that's not the lowest cooldown in League of Legends, that Weaver's Wall, so definitely expending a cooldown, really valuing the turrets even at this point in the game.
It is a slow game. 7 kills in 22 minutes. That's about a kill every 3 minutes. We have seen some more fast-paced games out of both these teams.
Definitely have. We may have see some fireworks here as Max looks to land a hook. And
it's the second time he graces Kuzan.
Kuzan just dipped himself in butter before this game, man. He's not feeling anything today.
Not a whole lot of butter here in Korea, actually.
Yeah,
it seems like
true.
the dairy department's truly lacking.
Yeah, you were talking about picking up lunch for about $4 earlier, but then you look at a string cheese and it's about $3, so it doesn't really add up.
Don't talk to me about string cheese. I go crazy for string cheese.
Well, you're in the wrong country for that, man. Teddy actually already has his QSS, so Maha actually hit the exact wrong target for now.
Hey, at least you get the QSS, so maybe they can go for a hook or a Sejuani ultimate in the meantime, but these teams have been playing quite slow, so I don't really expect them to make much use of. Oh, see there? Yeah,
there it is.
There it is, exactly what we're talking about, but it does get the flash, so it is something, and Weaver's Wall did get used once again, but that's 40 seconds onto the Dragon, and without Sejuani ultimate and Weaver's Wall and enchanted Crystal Arrow, I'm not so sure about MVP taking this fight, so it looks like Jin Air will gladly secure their second Ocean Dragon in the next 30 seconds.
We'll see if they can pick up the kill onto Ixu first, though. If they force a 5v4, they might be in a good spot, but actually Beyond taking a bunch of damage. MC trying to flash him with the Lantern from Max. The carry position here from Max on the support. But Kuzan able to rotate on down. Will pick up the kill onto Beyond, and it looks like Max will be in the same fate. Oh man, and ADD goes down too. Jin Air able to turn it around so big. And you were talking about giving up the Dragon. Well, giving up 3 kills and the Dragon is even worse for MVP.
Such an ill-advised engage to try to go into Ixu there. No ultimates left for MVP, so not really sure what they're thinking about taking that fight. And in return, Jin Air will not only be able to pressure the bot lane turret, they're moving towards Baron, and they can do this quite well. They have that % damage on the Blind Quiver, they got Daisy to tank it, Plants to deal tons of damage, and no jungler to contest the smite. So this will be a Jin Air Baron, and we know they can make some good use with this, and when you're dealing with a split-pushing Jace and a siege composition, the power of Baron just goes through the roof.
Yeah. It's very smart what you just said there, Crumbs. I really have to give it to you. So that's going to be Baron given over to Jin Air, and I said it before, they really have a lot to prove. They're doing quite well so far. Maybe just getting on the mistakes of MVP, and you can see here this engage onto Ixu, not really going well.
And they had no vision of the Zyra and the Iron coming from the river, so the engage they thought was just a freebie onto the Jace, but turns out they turned it around so well, and that Chain of Corruption, taking down Sejuani. You know, maybe if she lived, they could have possibly contested that Baron with a teleport, but no luck for MVP today.
I feel like they're a little bit antsy, you know? They look for the picks, and their composition does want them to get picks, but even after they fail the picks, they don't really back off enough. It's like they're engaging too hard. They want the kills too much. And as I say that, it looks like Jin Air with the Baron will have to give up the Ocean Drake over to MVP.
Well, that is the trend that MVP has had previously in the spring split. They were going so ham on kills that they often left behind the macro objective, and teams that kept the focus on the real money, the towers, the Barons, the Dragons, seemingly always got ahead with no matter what moves MVP made. So it's sad to see that perhaps they're still going back to the tendencies that really didn't work, but they did get 4th place. They were close with the Freaks, but this team, it's day 1 of LCK. It's a new patch. You can't really hold crazy expectations.
The Weaver's Wall will come in behind. That will separate this team, but there's just no follow-up engage. Everything's still available, the hook, the arrow, but no engage. They just wanted to try to disengage, I suppose, but the tower will still go down.
But they're not losing a whole lot. You know, one turret, even the mid lane turret, is not a big deal when you're dealing with a Baron. The save from Ashe, going to the bottom lane from Maha, making sure that Jace did not get that turret, really is slowing down that Jin Air Baron. And you'd want them to go for a crazy siege, maybe look for as much gold as possible on the map, but you always have to consider the threat of a Sejuani flank. That teleport, if a good ultimate hits, they're so in trouble. No tanks to protect from them, and they really have to keep that in mind because the game is 3K difference, and that difference at 30 minutes doesn't mean a whole lot.
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, Crumbs, but we have a Clown Drake coming up next. So not the most exciting Dragons we've ever seen here in LCK, and they're trying to make a move on to Ixu. That is super long range.
How did he hit that?
They have so much time to pick up this kill. Poor guy.
Oh, Maha, the Korean sniper, such great accuracy so far. That pick onto Kuzan, the one onto Ixu. Just, man, you want to see this guy use arrows more and more because that Essence Reaver, I wish he was using arrow all the time. What could he have done? The possibilities are endless here.
Well, he's trying to make up for it here in the mid-game. That was a pretty sick arrow from downtown. Whoa. Perfect angle, right on target. That wasn't even like low hitbox of Ash arrow kind of thing. That was straight on point, hit him right in the face.
It's all about the angle of the dangle, and he's got it down.
Drew Dangle's coming out here in LCK, Crumbs. And
MVP is looking for that standing gold on that last tier 1 for Jinair. You can see that Talia is making her way topside. Ash as well. She does have Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and maybe she's got her sights set on somebody else. Jinair is not in position to respond to anything else, so MVP could be looking to pick off somebody else, and it looks like they've got their eyes set on Ixu.
yeah, Jinair, they were looking pretty good in promotions in terms of macro play. You know, it seemed like they had really stepped up compared to their spring play.
To be fair, they were against Kongdu and Everade.
Yeah, that's the thing. They look good against those teams, but when you go up against MVP, now it looks like MVP is getting the better of them.
And they have gotten the better of them twice before. In the spring, they went 2-1 in both games. And the games, even though they did favor MVP, they went long, they were bloody, they were messy, and you could say that they could have been anybody's games. They really did rely on very late-game team fights. So this time around, it seems like it's no exception. These two teams seem to play the exact same way every time they meet.
It's only fitting that your first series cast here, Crumbs, is a Jinair series. It's definitely one of our longer, more drawn-out series in LCK.
It's an honor. You know I go for the long ones. And if you're wondering, and you haven't really checked out the new patch, you're wondering maybe why does Talia have a Banshee's Veil, and why is there a pink item on Sejuani? Well, the pink item is the adaptive helmet. It's in the deal. It reduces damage of subsequent spells, and it does help when you're dealing with champions that stack up spells after spells, and it makes her tankier, right? You just want to be a tank when you're Sejuani. You're really not trying to deal as much damage as possible, and she's all about that engage. The CDR, the Ninja Tabi, the Righteous Glory, and as for the Banshee's Veil, well, it got changed. It's now an AP item. They really want to make sure that the APs have some more diversity in defending themselves, and that's exactly what that's going to do. A Weaver's Wall might do absolutely nothing once again. These walls have
it made those Raptors really uncomfortable there. You see that?
These walls have been... you got to rethink the landscaping here.
Ooh, well, forces out the flash from Umti. The arrow will go wide. And, well, especially when you're going Essence Reaver, trading arrow for flash is always a pretty good trade.
Yeah, and the Ivern is a good guy to get the flash. He has a lot of playmaking potential with that flash brood, the flash shield, but most of all, he's really squishy. And we see Ivern get so overconfident all the time by thinking, oh, I'm a tank, I'm a jungler, maybe I can step up, but no, you actually get killed very quickly. Redemption has not a real tank stat, and the jungle item, because it's not completed, also doesn't really make you too tanky, and he does go for that Knight's Vow, and he's most likely syncing that up to, can we see who he connected it to so far? Could be anybody, really. The Jace, the Orianna, lots of good targets.
We got Baron respawning here in about 35 seconds. And so far, there's not too much vision over there. It looks like MVP has one control ward. So we could see that come into contention in just a bit. As I said before, Clown Drake is coming on the map as well. But I don't think either of these teams is going to make a big move towards that.
Yeah, it's a 32-minute Cloud Dragon. Not a big deal. Junior understand. They got the eye on the money. They're moving towards the Baron. They're starting to clear out vision. And it's really great for them to be here right now because there's no vision from MVP, which means that they will have to be using Scrying Orbs, that Ash Scout, the Crystal, the Scrying Orb to make sure that they can see what's going on around Baron, but the preparation not there just yet, not feeling too comfortable to try to make a move and force MVP's hand, and so they will get that Cloud Dragon for free, and another Weaver's Wall used to scout out.
Yeah, just poking its head in, not doing much else. Cloud Drake goes over to MVP. Elder's up next.
That could be a Junior quote right there on these games. Not doing much else.
Just chilling. Just chilling.
How do you like to play League? Just chill.
Just, yeah. I get a couple of kills and I get exactly 3,000 gold ahead, and then I just chill for about 20 minutes. And later on in the game when I have 6 items, then I like to fight, but not before that.
It's like everybody's a Nasus player.
They just like to complete their full set of items, you know?
Well,
it's like getting all the gear in an MMO.
That is really satisfying, though.
Yeah.
I bet they feel really satisfied with their league. Like, I personally love playing like that, so, you know, spectators.
You would fit well on Genera, Crumbs.
For their standings, I agree. I would fit right in.
Oh, look at this. The hawk shot is down, and there is absolutely zero vision. And this is very well set up by Jin-Air. It looks like Beyond will attempt to come on in, but I think it's too late. The root comes in, and they're just going to pop him like a bug. That will be the Baron going over to Jin-Air at the same time. Great move.
Just no respect for what Jin-Air can do there. There's no vision at Baron. They don't decide to try to push in, and Jin-Air take full advantage of the situation they created. When MVP decided to go for a 30-minute Cloud Dragon, Jin-Air said, no, we want to go for the Baron. We got it one time. We're going to get it the second time and make sure we can get the most out of it. And right now, they're poised to go for a base turret here. And if MVP doesn't respond properly, it could even be an inhibitor.
Well, we do have the Weaver's Wall up. Will Ian use it on this push? Doesn't look like it.
It's great to see that Banshee still blocks 2 spells at once.
Yep. We do have the hook here and an arrow coming out onto Kuzan, but where's the follow-up? There's absolutely none. And
that just weakens their defense into this push. Jin-Air will feel more comfortable staying in here because the arrow is down, and Ixu continues to push here, but ADD has to make up his mind. Does he answer bottom? Does he help top? What does he do? But Beyond is going bottom, just all over the place for MVP.
Now, you have another hook miss. Even if it had hit, there's really nothing they can do at this point. We do have Beyond going in on Ixu. Collateral damage will not be enough to take him out, but this push up and top is the real story. The Weaver's Wall will come out. And with no possible response,
there's a TP.
Here she comes, the TP in from Ixu. Might be a little bit late. Beyond taking a ton of damage in the back line. Teddy just holding up that front line. Here comes ADD. Does land the big ultimate, but Ian with not enough damage to follow up and actually take out anyone. Only Snowflower will go down in the exchange.
He's so late. The only ward he could TP to was so far back that when he got there, no follow-up on the ultimate. And Jin-Air, while they're unable to get the inhibitor, they're pretty happy with this. They're able to really put a lot of pressure onto MVP. They forced out the teleports out, and that means that next time they go around, this will favor Jin-Air even more because somebody will have to answer the Jace. And if you don't have teleport, you can't make the play that the 5-man team is supposed to make.
I can't believe Beyond didn't die there. He was so low. Max just carrying once again. And as you were saying, ADD, he lands it onto 2 members, but that's about it. In real time, Kuzan. Uh-oh. Trying to trade back onto Beyond. It will not happen. Another missed hook. Had he hit that, Teddy might have met the same fate, especially with Maha nearby with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. So MVP, they're really trying to punish Jin-Air for that push that did not get the inhibitor. They will have a lot more room on the map now.
Going for that siege, but take a look at the top side. Jin-Air, they're most likely going to be able to secure that inhibitor. They're trying to just force the map, say we're going to just 5-man, we need to make our moves, but Jin-Air is happy to give up this turret in exchange for a top lane inhibitor. This Jace is just doing so much work right now.
I love the cheer from the MVP side when they get that tier 2 turret, and then everybody realizes, oh, Jin-Air, they just got an inhibitor. And then there's that one really excited Jin-Air fan like, yeah!
And you focus on the positivity, right? I think there was actually a study on basketball that basketball players, when shown their mistakes versus shown their good plays, learned and became better by only looking at their good plays and not looking at their mistakes.
Yeah, positive reinforcement, man. It's been around for ages.
You'd hope it'd stick in League of Legends, but it seems like negative reinforcement seems to be the way to go.
Well, solo queue spilling on over, perhaps. Either way, MVP really in kind of a bind here. They are down about 6,000 gold. They have lost their top inhibitor, and they just seem to continue to look for picks, but MT's being very careful, setting up his brushes for vision. And they still have the Baron, so they're attempting a push down in bottom lane. Ixu was able to poke it down a little bit, but as I say that, the Baron runs out, and they will not continue the push.
And all Jin-Air has to do, there is QSS, but no flash.
Yeah, and They do land that slow. There's the arrow. It looks like onto Snowflower, but Ixu jumping on in will take out Max, and MVP just doesn't have enough follow-up. They don't have the damage, and everyone on Jin Air will survive, and they get another turret.
Oh, and they keep playing the same way, going for the engage, but the damage dealers are nowhere to be found. The Smite takes out Daisy right away, but Jin Air is perfectly happy to stay on this push. The next wave is coming. Lots of ultimates being burned down, and once this wave hits, the damage reduction on the turret will be nullified, and with so much pushing power, this is likely to be the second inhibitor for Jin Air.
Not much that the three members of MVP can do at this point, and Ixu is already making his way into bot. They push that lane up before they even win for the fight, so it's in a fantastic position. MT is getting a little bit low.
Getting frisky here.
It looks like they don't want to take the chance.
They have to respect the ball. The Orianna ball is hiding in the brush right now, but it's good that Ixu's pushing down bottom, really forcing MVP to decide to defend mid or defend top or bottom.
Oh, through the goalposts. No stun from the arrow, and Jin Air gets out scot-free, and they take out a second inhibitor.
3 points, and now there's an Inferno or an Elder Dragon coming out. It would be incredibly greedy to go for this, and that's the only play that MVP can go for right now. They really have to force this Dragon and try to get something in return to stall this game out, because they absolutely need to buy time for these inhibitors to respawn, because when you're dealing with 2 inhibitors down, it's so easy to just end the game.
So here we go. This is going to be MVP's real chance. They have 3 Elemental Drakes so far. Ixu is trying to get frisky, and actually Umti is going to engage by himself. Uh-oh. That's a bit of a mistake, coming in way before his team, and they land the stun onto Kuzan. He will be gone too. Here comes Ian in the back, the double knock-up. Beyond wants to follow up. Teddy trying to trade. He's trying to be the huge hero for Jin Air right now. He does get Ma extremely low. And
Ixu so strong.
Oh man, he is able to take them out. The Guardian Angel.
No mana though.
Yeah, can he actually follow this up? Snowflower is around. And they're actually going to continue on to this. It is 3v2 right now.
He might try to teleport. Are they pinging the base? Is he trying to go for a backdoor end maybe? What's going on? He's TPing. Where is he TPing to? It's the base. He's going for the end.
He's going for it. Jace, he can take out turrets so incredibly fast. Is there anyone to get there in time? Looks like you will get one Nexus turret.
The recall from Max is the first one to get there. That's one Nexus turret.
The Elder Drake does go down to MVP, but look at this, the second Nexus turret. Ixu, he's tanking it right now. He's going to take out that second Nexus turret. Will he go for the Nexus? Only Max is there right now. He's going to jump and actually trade with Max. It looks like he may be able to take him out.
That's going to be GG.
Oh, he gets it. Unbelievable.
Well, he dies. Oh, picture perfect ending.
Oh, that is so cool. Jin Air, they take the first match of LCK Summer in really flashy fashion. You know, we didn't really talk about Ixu too much, but Sohan, a sub, had come in multiple times because Ixu was not performing, but today on the Jace, man, he was lighting it up.
Yeah, he was rocking it. He had a pretty easy laning phase into the Sejuani, great atomization, and really just put Jin Air on his back. So much pressure, but the undecisiveness and lack of coordination from MVP's engage was really their downfall. They're unable to find enough damage with their CC, and so Jin Air just took full advantage of it, and you saw them play the map out quite well. They took control of Baron 2 times, and MVP really need to reevaluate their macro play.
Yeah.
That's what haunted them last split, and it's sad to see it not be